Hey everybody, my name is Tori and I have chosen to do a family violence resource kit. Excuse my voice, I have a little bit of a cold, so it's going to sound a little rough, but I've chosen to create a resource kit for people experiencing family violence. This can be anyone in a family setting. It can be elders, it can be partners, it can be children. And my aim with this resource kit is to let people in these situations know that there's a way out, there's support and interventions available to help. A quote from the Government of Canada, family violence is considered to be any form of abuse, mistreatment, or neglect that a child or adult experiences from a family member or from someone with whom they have an intimate relationship. According to the 2009 General Social Survey on Victimization, or GSS, 6% of individuals with a current or former spouse reported being physically or sexually victimized by their spouse. Another quote from Stats Canada is, rates of police reported family violence against children and youth, intimate partners, and seniors all rose in 2019. The overall rate of police-reported family violence increased for the third consecutive year, rising 13% over this period. So as we continue to see isolation in this pandemic, we see a rise in domestic violence. For the signs and symptoms to look for, I actually created a pamphlet. This can be for someone concerned for a friend, a family member, or even themselves. So the title is, it's backwards for you, I think. Are you concerned about someone you know? Speak up, reach out. So the first page is, what is family violence? Family violence is the attempts by one person in an intimate relationship to dominate and control the other. It may include a single act or several acts forming a pattern. These can include psychological, mental abuse, physical abuse, verbal, spiritual, social, cultural, emotional, intellectual, financial, using children, abuse of pets and property, using social media even. In the middle, it actually includes the pandemic, so COVID-19 and family violence. Family violence might intensify when everyone is spending more time at home, but remember, there is help. So reach out, speak out if you think that neighbors, friends, family are experiencing family violence. Then signs of family violence during the pandemic. So when everybody's in isolation, this can cause a heighten, and it can also cause more feelings of somebody being isolated. So some more specific signs to look for: a friend no longer accepts video calls from you. Only one family member is noticed leaving the home for walker supplies. You hear sounds of conflict coming from the house. An ex-spouse or partner is using COVID-19 as an excuse to move back in. You haven't heard from your friend at work lately. And then as we move to the back, everyone deserves to feel safe. And then we have resources to call if you're concerned for someone or yourself needs to get out or reach out to somebody. So we have, if someone is in danger, call 911. That is the biggest thing. The Red Deer Outreach Center, formerly known as the Women's Outreach. If you or someone you know needs someone safe to talk to or supports in being affected by domestic violence, I have the phone number and website. Central Alberta Sexual Assault Support Center, their 24-hour text, online chat, and phone helpline. The Women's Emergency Shelter, if you need to leave, you need somewhere to go with children, I have their phone number and website as well. So, made that pamphlet. What actions should be taken in case of an emergency? I have found an excellent safety plan. So safety plans and education, I found, are one of the highly rated interventions for family violence. So a safety plan can help you get out of danger quickly because it's planned. You already know what to do. You already know where to go, and you have things ready to go. So step one, safety during a violent incident. So if I decide to leave, where will I go? I can tell this person and this person. I can teach my children how to use a telephone if they need to. Step two, safety when preparing to leave. I will leave money and an extra set of keys with. I can leave it here, or I can leave it with someone I know, maybe a neighbor. I will copy important documents, have them safe, ready to go. And then we move to step 3, safety in my own residence after leaving the abuser. So these are safety plans for when you are in a different home. So say maybe a shelter or private housing for women fleeing domestic violence. These are things you can do to feel safer, but also keep yourself safe. So you could change the locks on doors and windows. Probably can't do that in a shelter. But there's security systems. You can purchase rope ladders to use to get out of windows quickly. Things like that. And then we move on to the next step, which is, bear with me here, safety with a protection order. So if you really feel like you need to keep your distance and you think that they're going to be coming after you, you can get a safety protection order. So it's a court order that they cannot breach, and if they do, they can be taken to jail. So you will need to inform people closest to you that you have this protection order. Having safety at work and in the public. You can have your phone calls screened. When you're leaving work, you can ask somebody to walk you to their car. So safety plans like this are very important. Items to take while leaving, like a list of items, social insurance cards, passports, checkbooks, children's favorite toys if you have children, anything like that. Very important to have ready to go, especially if you're planning on leaving. And then contact information that you need to know. So you could put shelter information in there, you could have emergency information, all phone numbers that you need just in case. So one big safety plan, very effective, proven effective, and a very highly rated intervention plan for domestic violence. I have also found a toolkit for domestic violence. It is a very informative package, and it describes all side effects of domestic violence, why it's hard to leave, which a lot of people sometimes don't understand. They don't understand why they can't leave, but there's reasons for it. If you decide to leave, knowing your rights is very important. So if you're a homeowner and you're wanting to leave, knowing your rights as a homeowner is very important. What your friends and family can do, reaching out to them for support if you can. What you can do if you find yourself in an abusive relationship. There's 7 steps here. Find supportive friends and family. Let go of feeling responsible. Know your rights. Contact a support group. Look after yourself. Do not judge yourself. Recognize your strengths. What about the children? Bunch of information in here that is very, very important. So that is a very informational toolkit, and that is included. So a couple things like that. Research-based interventions. So main thing, like I said at the start, safety plans and education are the highest rated interventions that you have. Being educated on what abuse is, what it looks like, can prevent you from being in a very bad situation. And also safety planning, knowing you're in a situation, knowing that if it happens again, you have somewhere to go, where you're going to go, who you're going to contact, is a very important thing. Other things as well, therapy is it's an after intervention, but it can help with side effects of trauma. So therapy is another big thing that professionals rely upon when dealing with PTSD, trauma in children. So things like child development, community policing programs. So it's a model of secondary prevention that provides crisis intervention and follow-up community and clinical and collaborative interventions for exposed children. Structured psychotherapy for adolescents responding to chronic stress. Manually guided and empirically supported group treatment designed to improve the emotional, social, academic, and behavioral functioning of adolescents exposed to chronic personal trauma and or separate types of trauma. Also, the one we've all heard before, cognitive behavioral therapy, evidence-based treatment for children and adolescents impacted by trauma and their parents and caregivers. This can also work for adults as well, but children are definitely the focal point for trauma, PTSD, that kind of thing, because as adolescents it affects their development. But for women, men, in domestic violence relationships, there are therapy for them, and they are the best interventions that they have found. So education, therapy, safety planning, things like that, all proven to help the situation, help them just therapy-wise get through the trauma, you could say. Some additional resources that I've included in the kit are 2 books. So one is called Abused Men, The Hidden Side of Domestic Violence. It's backwards for you again, I think. But so I've included that one. This book is The Hidden Side of Domestic Violence. So like we rarely hear about men on the side of domestic violence, the prevalence of intimate partner violence against men, incorporating personal interviews and cases drawn from the media. It also includes updates on law, legislations, court activity, social responses, police activity, support groups, batterer programs, and crisis intervention programs. There's also detailed specific description of needed reforms in the current approach to intimate partner violence, whether the victims are female or male. So this is a very good informative book that can just raise awareness, education, and a very good one to read. The other one that I've included is called A Terrible Thing Happened, more of a children's book, but it's a very smooth way of getting across when bad things happen. So Sherman Smith saw the most terrible thing happen. At first he tried to forget about it, but soon something inside of him started to bother him. He felt nervous for no reason, his stomach started to hurt. He had bad dreams, and he started to feel angry and do mean things, which got him in trouble. Then he met Mrs. Maple, who helped him talk about the terrible thing that he had tried to forget. Now Sherman is feeling much better. This gently told and tenderly illustrated story is for children who have witnessed any kind of violent or traumatic episode, including physical abuse, school or gang violence, accidents, homicide, suicide. So it is it incorporates multiple tragedies and traumas that children may face, but it does involve family violence and the trauma that can come from it. So it is a very good one for parents and children to read, and just kind of makes you more aware of your feelings and things that can come from experiencing trauma. So that is the extent of my family violence kit. I hope you all enjoyed it. There's a lot of information included, some literature, and I think it is a great thing for anyone experiencing family violence or think someone close to them is experiencing family violence. Yeah, and that is it. Thank you very much for listening, and that is all.